This is a brief overview of crisis theory for SWG 640, presented by Jonathan Murdoch, aka Riley, Myrna Tomic, Brittany Rock, and Brianna Western.
Crisis theory is a fantastic way to meet the immediate and short-term needs of our clients. A crisis can be many things. The biggest things are war and natural disaster. The smallest crises are arguments that make it impossible for our clients to function normally. Our clients come in with a presenting problem. Often the best course of action is to throw more time, energy, and resources at overcoming these big crises as quickly as we can manage. This could look like providing case management, safety, housing, emotional support, and problem solving to help our clients get through to a place of safety and relative peace. It's not until a crisis is managed that the work can progress. A good way to tell that the crisis is resolved is when a person can talk about the crisis without reliving all of the emotions. Initially, I didn't love this theory, but I didn't understand what it was all about. I love going deep, working on big issues with people. I love doing the hard work. But after studying this topic, I really understand that this is taking care of the immediate stuff, the big stuff. In my previous positions, this is something we did quite a lot. I'm grateful for the structured models that make this intervention straightforward. It really has the capacity to bring those we serve back to a healthy baseline.
Moving on to practice settings, crisis theory can really be used in all areas of social work and multiple levels, such as micro, meso, and macro level work. As previously stated, the role of the social worker is to provide that temporary shoulder to lean on, resources, assisting people to returning to their former state. Now that can involve crisis management in a unexpected life event or a natural disaster such as Hurricane Katrina, and providing more concrete assistance such as clean water, a place to sleep, food, and grieving with the loss of a home or possessions, family members, or pets. But it can also include expected life events such as divorce, death, loss of a job. It can involve minimal support such as outpatient counseling or significant support such as hospitalization. So it really depends on the setting and the life event and just kind of how that person is dealing with it.
Let's discuss the strengths of crisis theory. The main strength is that crisis theory is quick, active, and fast-paced. That means social workers are getting to a crisis situation and helping their clients as fast as they can in that situation where their stress is very high. Another strength of the crisis theory is that it's flexible. It's flexible in terms of modalities and interventions to use. You can use CBT, you can use solution focus, you could use narrative theory. It just depends on the situation that you're running into and the crisis. It's also adaptable, as said, to the variety of situations you may come across when people are experiencing a crisis, as well as flexible in terms of the stages of the crisis intervention are really beneficial to cultural differences. You can adapt the stages that you want to go in based on the person that you are interacting with and their cultural background. The crisis theory also has some limitations. First off, it provides a short, brief intervention. Usually, this only lasts max 4 to 6 weeks, so this makes it very difficult for a social worker to fully assess and address issues that are on the larger scale. It doesn't solve clients' underlying issues that they may be experiencing outside of the crisis situation, so this doesn't make it possible for any long-term change. It's also difficult to measure the model effectiveness versus the intervention modality effectiveness because it is such a short, brief intervention. And this can cause difficulties in measuring the effectiveness because there can be ethical issues when trying to talk to someone in a crisis situation. It can cause coercion, or you might not get as reliable data.
Crisis theory and working with diverse client systems. Culture influences what we identify as a problem, beliefs about the origin of the problem, how to resolve it, and which types of helpers we believe are appropriate to assist in problem resolution. Approaching a therapeutic relationship with diverse clients who are in crisis should include having an understanding of the client's culture and worldview. So, in some cultures, focusing on the individual rather than on the client as a member of a family or community may be considered insensitive. Also, social workers engaging in crisis intervention may inappropriately assume that cause and effect thinking is the only explanation for how the world works. The social worker may have one explanation for the current crisis while the client has another. The second point, recognizing your own worldview and biases and how these may influence the relationship. Culturally biased assumptions can lead to inappropriate assessments and interventions. As social workers, we must learn about other cultures while also examining our own biases. The third point, recognize the influence of institutional biases, such as educational systems. The tools we use are often based on a particular culture, class, and gender frame or reference. To recognize bias in instruments and institutions, we must be aware of our own worldviews and biases in order to avoid certain diagnostic labels that may be considered culturally insensitive and inaccurate.
To wrap things up, here is a list of references that we use throughout. We hope that you enjoyed our presentation and thank you for your time.